Good afternoon. I'm Trinace Riggs, School Board Chair, and the administrative, informal, and workshop session of this meeting of the School Board of the City of Virginia Beach, Virginia is hereby convened at 4:04 p.m. on this 26th day of September 2023. Members of the public will be able to observe the school board meeting through a live streaming on schoolboard.vbschools.com/meeting/live broadcast on VBTV Channel 47 and on Zoom. Thank you to those that have joined us in person and online. Madam Clerk, will you please announce those school board members in attendance?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Present in the Holland Road Annex Einstein Lab, we have Chair Riggs, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Brown, Mr. Callen, Ms. Franklin, Ms. Manning, Ms. Martin, Ms. Melnick, and Ms. Owens, and attending via Zoom is Mr. Culpepper.
So, Mr. Culpepper, could you please tell us the reason you are on virtual and where you are?
Hello, I'm in Philadelphia on personal business.
What personal business?
Okay, thank you. Okay, and Miss Weems has just finished texting me. She is in the hospital. She had to leave last night because of kidney stones. So she did tell me I could say that she is medically, she's in the hospital. And she's not doing well, but we'll hope that things go better for her. So, school board administrative matters and reports. Do any school board members have anything to report? Okay. I have to mention about the superintendent search. We are seeking input for the superintendent search. There is a survey on the vbschools.com website in which the public can share their input regarding qualifications and leadership attributes for the new superintendent. The survey opened yesterday and will remain open until Friday, October the 6th. On the website, there's also a link to apply for the superintendent position. The link will take you to HYA, Hazard Young, Attia and Associates, the search company we are using to complete an application. Additionally, on the afternoons and evenings of October 3rd and 4th, HYA will hold open meetings for students, staff, parents, and community stakeholders to comments to HYA regarding the qualifications and leadership attributes for the new superintendent. Again, we are encouraging our staff, our students, parents and guardians, and communication stakeholders to partake in the survey and the HYA public comment sessions. As a reminder, the next school board meeting on October 10th will take place at the School Board Administration Building, number 6, at 2512 George Mason Drive. Over the next few weeks, the various departments and offices will be moving back to the school administration building. So they will be very, very busy packing up and moving. They're already doing that. Okay. So for summer work and school opening update, welcome Jack Freeman, our Chief Operations Officer.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman Riggs, members of the board, and Dr. Robertson. Today's brief is intended to give you more depth regarding the work being accomplished in Division Services. Each of our directors will be presenting their work from their respective offices. You'll hear from Melissa Ingram from Facility Services, from Eric Woodhouse from Maintenance Services, from Sam Nix from Custodial and Distribution Services, James Lash from Transportation, Tommy DiMartini from Security and Emergency Management, and Vika Harrison from Food Services. I'm excited for you to hear and understand the incredible work that our entire team does to prepare for a new school year and where we are focused moving forward. This is the second year that we've given this brief, and last year was the first year, and there was incredible feedback that came at the end of that brief, so looking forward to sharing more information with you guys today. You'll likely have many questions as you process. It's a lot of information. May I request that you hold your questions till the end of the brief, and then we'll answer them all in full at that point in time. And so with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to facilities team and Melissa Ingram.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Melissa Ingram. I'm the Executive Director of Facility Services. So I just wanted to mention we've had a very busy summer. I know all of the offices you're going to hear from today, that is definitely the case for. Wanted to remind you too that all of our schools and sites are utilized throughout the summer months. Whether it's one of the 48 sites that are utilized for summer learning programs, parks and education programs for our students, or one of the over 25 sites that we've had some CIP work in. Our offices are busy in terms, especially in facility services, making sure that over our 90 sites, 11 million square feet of space and 1,900 acres are up to par for when students come back and ready, making sure that we're doing maintenance projects that are quite large. Those are multi-year projects that we have in the CIP, which we'll talk about in a minute. But we're also really busy in facility services, as Mr. Woodhouse and Mr. Nix will follow me in saying that we do a lot of preventative maintenance, a lot of cleaning protocols, special event supports, summer school program supports, and again, just getting ready for a great first day for our students when they return at the end of the summer. So looking at CIP plan projects, again, we've worked on over 25 projects, including really paying attention to our building envelopes in our schools. Roof replacements, foundations investigations, those have been really important for us as our buildings are aging. We also have quite a bit of HVAC replacements that have occurred this summer. We've had the great opportunity to work with our budget team in terms of getting some grant funding for these HVAC replacement projects. As you're aware, none of our projects become cheaper as time goes on, but just more expensive, but they're just as important to make sure our students have a proper learning environment. We also look for other energy-saving components such as lighting, along with our building envelopes, and other support areas for our students such as auditorium equipment, athletic fields, and other areas in the schools that might need to be revamped. Also, as part of our CIP projects, we are very proud to have opened our Lynn Haven Middle School Achievable Dream Academy edition for our high school students at Achievable Dream Academy. This is a great, you can see on the picture at the bottom there, it's the portion of the building closest to you. It has a great connection to the middle school area at Lynn Haven Middle School as well, for those middle school Achievable Dream students, and also the rest of Lynn Haven Middle School there, we were able to expand the commons area as well. So these spaces have been really great. Students have started working right away in them. They're very collaborative, and again, the connection to our schools is just amazing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Eric Woodhouse in terms of maintenance services. Thank you.
Good afternoon, members of the school board and Dr. Robinson. I'm Eric Woodhouse, Director of Maintenance Services, and I want to share some of the great work done by the Office of Maintenance Services. I'm proud to report that we completed over 200 building maintenance projects this summer. A few projects are still in progress, but will have little to no impact on the school environment. Completing 200 building maintenance projects, let me click this. I think, did I go wrong? I apologize. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. Completing 200 plus building maintenance projects was challenging, especially during a shortened summer. This work would not have been possible without the hard work of our maintenance service team, as shown by a few of the pictures on the screen. Projects are identified through a 5-year projection of needs that the maintenance services team updates constantly. Each project had a well-defined scope, specifications, schedule, and follow all procurement protocols. Maintenance services completed painting at 11 schools, interior and exterior locations, electrical improvements in 19 of our facilities, which included replacing outdated lights with LED lights, performed preventive maintenance on switchboards, auditorium, and theatrical lighting controls. We completed HVAC repairs and improvements in 21 schools on a smaller scale compared to our CIP projects and facilities. We had carpet replacements in 13 facilities, plumbing maintenance and repairs in 11 schools, intercom replacements and enhancements in 9 schools, security system upgrades, to include video archive servers, video camera replacements, and intrusion detection system enhancements in over 50 schools. Maintenance Services also collaborated with and supported the Department of Teaching and Learning and the Department of School Leadership with multiple requests for grants, donations, and building modifications. Although we have accomplished much this summer, there's still work we have to do. Please know that we're consistently assessing our facilities, we're planning, we're prioritizing the work with understanding we must stay true to our core function, which is routine and preventive maintenance. Last fiscal year, we completed over 82,000 work orders, which are the day-to-day maintenance requests that comes from our over 90 facilities. The 200-plus projects and over 82,000 work orders were the most completed in any given year by maintenance services staff. Let me, this thing drop down here. Sorry about that. Go to the next slide. Moving forward, I want to share 3 initiatives from maintenance services. First, the demand response test program that we initiate each summer. The demand response program involves curtailing energy usage on a scheduled day for a couple hours. On one day, our larger systems, such as our HVAC units, are shut down. Our facilities are notified in advance and can maintain their building temperature until the test is completed. So there's little to no impact on schools. We chose 55 facilities, and 52 being the greatest energy consumers. The demand response test program has proven to be cost-effective. We received a credit of $85,000 this year. That work was done by our energy manager, our electrical and HVAC shops. Second, the Office of Maintenance Services recently upgraded its computerized maintenance management system from School Due to Brightly Asset Essential. This upgrade provides enhanced features and capabilities, including the ability to generate and track work requests associated with specific assets and equipment. Asset Essentials also provides inventory management for parts and materials needed to support our maintenance needs. In conjunction with IBM Tririga, this software will enable the Office of Maintenance Services to track key building system items and equipment through their life cycle and provide performance data needed for forecasting maintenance needs and eventual replacement. Asset Essentials is also used by the Office of Custodial Distribution Services for work order management and inventory, and the City of Virginia Beach Parks and Landscape Services for receiving Virginia Beach City Public Schools requests. The third, which is my favorite initiative, is the Technical and Career Educational Partnership. This past summer, we worked with the Tech Center Administration to identify students that would work in various trades and maintenance services. 6th, 11th, and 12th grade students were given the opportunity to participate. To provide a full experience with applying for a job, each student completed an online application, submitted a resume, and participated in an interview that included questions associated with their particular trade. We realized quickly that each student was very knowledgeable and answered questions in a manner that was consistent with applicants who are interviewed for full-time positions. There was a clear indication that the Tech Center staff was doing an outstanding job of preparing these students for future employment in the trades. We contacted the Department of Communications and Community Engagement to do an article on the students to showcase their great work. Our goal is to continue the partnership, and hopefully one day these students will become employees of Virginia Beach City Public Schools. In closing, I would like to thank all the departments for their support, with all the building maintenance projects and the initiative we put on this summer. Thank you. I will turn it over to Mr. Nix.
Thank you, Mr. Woodhouse. My voice is a little heavier than most, so I'll move this away from me a little bit. First of all, I'll say good afternoon and thank you for allowing me to share some of the things that our office, the Office of Custodial and Distribution Services, were able to accomplish this year to get our students and staff ready for the return of students. First and foremost, the mission of the Office of Custodial and Distribution Services is to provide a clean, well-maintained learning environment. Thank you. Clean, well-maintained learning environment for all students and staff, and to support personnel by ensuring instructional materials and the necessary supplies and equipment are provided in a safe and efficient manner. We were able to accomplish our mission this summer by completing over 120 planned projects. Some of those include screening and recoding 25 gym floors. One of them is Brookwood, that's right, on my left, your right. Top scrubbing and stripping waxing of all floors throughout the division. One such here is the cafeteria at Newcastle Elementary School. Relocating and cleaning a new classroom at the mall site in Lynn Haven Mall, which is the lower right-hand side for you. And pressure washing 5 complete schools and sidewalks, Kings Grant Elementary School and Bayside High School, 2 of the schools we did. As you can see, with a little bit of elbow grease and a whole lot of love and dedication, our custodial team can make anything shine bright like a diamond. But just keep us in mind when you do. Providing clean and safe buildings for students and staff remains our top priority. The new cleaning, sanitizing protocols that were developed as a result of COVID continue to be part of our daily routine cleaning protocols. These enhanced cleaning and sanitizing protocols are what we follow to get our facilities ready for the safe return of students and staff. And in this slide, you can see some of our dedicated custodial team members and one of our RAP distribution vans displaying positions we're hiring for. As you were briefed in the prior meeting, we continue to face vacancies, but we continue to work with Ms. Woodhouse and her fantastic HR staff to continue to recruit and retain custodians. One of our such efforts, working with Ms. Woodhouse and Ms. Pay, was the continuation of our custodial substitute initiative program. Our distribution team is our internal United States postal system with the delivery quickness of Amazon, but with much better looking uniforms. Our interdepartmental mail drivers, we call pony mail drivers, make 116 stops daily. We also provide continuous support to schools by delivering student records, kindergarten material, furniture, custodial supplies, printed materials and forms, textbooks, Department of Technology supplies, kitchen equipment. We provide removal service for kitchen equipment, surplus computers, and furniture. We also provide event support where we provide risers, tables, chairs, partitions, desks for graduations, career fairs, and other special events. We also provided event support for when the governor visited College Park Elementary School last week. In this slide, you can see one of our delivery trucks. In this slide, you can see one of our delivery trucks, one of our RAP vans, and they travel daily in a picture of our immaculate distribution center. We take pride in that. Our distribution team are the heavy lifters that ensure our students and staff have the furniture and materials needed to ensure the success of the learning environment. These are just some of the accomplishments the Office of Custodial and Distribution Services was able to succeed in completing this spring and summer. And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to share that. Thank you. At this point in time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Tommy DeMartini.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity for us to provide a little insight into what we do to keep our schools safe and secure for the upcoming year. Okay. You can't hear me? No. That's the first person who's ever said that.
I don't say it often, but yeah, exactly.
Is that better? All right. Okay. So, as you are aware, we implemented the Armed Security Officer Program last year. We were happy to report that this program is getting fantastic feedback from our community and our staff. Remember, these employees are security personnel in our schools that meet the state code, allowing us to hire qualified retired or former law enforcement officers or law enforcement individuals, and we ultimately allow them to carry a firearm. They are in addition to our security assistants who are not armed. And currently, we have these individuals at all high schools except one, but that high school is expected to have the position filled on October 10th after those individuals qualify on the range on October 9th. 7 of the 15 middle schools have armed presence, and I'm pleased to announce that we're currently working with HR to hire 4 more candidates, and our goal is to fully staff this program by September of 2024. So a little bit about their training. These individuals are required to attend DCJS classes on active shooter emergency response, emergency evacuation response, and threat assessment. And our OSUM conducts these classes as our coordinators are certified DCJS instructors. We also require them to attend a firearms qualification provided by the Virginia Beach Police Department's Firearm Training Unit, and it's overseen by my staff. In addition, we also distribute the equipment necessary for these employees to carry out their assignment, to include the weapon, holster, duty belt, uniform, and ammunition. And lastly, upon completion of the training, each employee signs off on an expectation sheet reviewed by my staff, and the expectation sheet includes, is not limited to, the gun responsibility. I'd like to really point out that our HR team, led by Ms. Woodhouse, has been extremely instrumental in our ability to get this program up and going, and I really appreciate her efforts and her team's efforts, so thank you, Ms. Woodhouse. OSUM prides ourselves on preparing our staff for emergencies, crisis prevention, and response. And that being said, we have pushed to increase our ability to train throughout the years. This year, we provided tabletop exercises to newly promoted assistant principals, working them through a firearm on school property scenario. As we continue to educate our administrative teams on current and related topics, this summer, we provided instruction on the threat assessment process, search and seizure techniques, law and best practices, interview and interrogation considerations involving criminal investigations, and our new Rave technology application. And some of you may remember, a few years ago, we replaced MANT with CIP. We continue to provide various staff certifications in Crisis Prevention Institute's non-violent crisis intervention, as led by our OSUM coordinator, Christy Golden. Meanwhile, our other 2 coordinators, Tommy Shattuck and Brian Lone, provided all of food services, cafeteria staff with the Run, Hide, Protect training. And we are pleased to report that our relationship with the Virginia Beach Police Department continues to stay strong and connected. As we have done in the past, we were invited to present at the annual SRO in-service, providing guidance on relationship building with our administrative teams and fielding questions and concerns of the officers. But for the first time this year, we were able to integrate our armed security officers in the police department's scenario-based trainings held at the campus of Virginia Wesleyan. Our SSOs are able to actively participate in 2 different types of active shooter incidents. A significant accomplishment this past year was to engage our senior staff and our administrative crisis response team in a several-month-long critical incident management exercise series. It's a lot of words right there. We started with a tabletop exercise to senior staff consisting of a significant incident at one of our schools. Using our emergency response plans as a guide, the leaders were asked to plan out their response as the event was unfolding. Ultimately, the leaders determined that the building needed to be evacuated. Partnering with DOT and our police department, we followed up the tabletop exercise with a live display of a division command center and a mobile command post. And this allowed our team to experience an integrated communication system involving emergency responders. Following up with the leadership's decision to evacuate the property of the tabletop exercise, a full-scale reunification exercise was planned. This is where we utilized our administrative crisis response team. And this team is selected individuals from our central office staff. And our newly hired emergency manager, Gustavo Vilches, with the support of our project manager, Gil Warner, and our project support team members, Ben Gons and Billy Hodges, they were able to coordinate a large-scale exercise involving multiple internal and external stakeholders. This took several months and many meetings to coordinate. The goal of the reunification exercise was to successfully reunite evacuated students with the listed emergency contact members at a predetermined off-site venue. In this case, we used the Virginia Beach Sports Center on 19th Street. With the help of 25 student volunteers, Virginia Beach City Public School volunteers, and several citizen volunteers acting as emergency contacts, we were able to walk the administrative crisis response team through the process. And we are pleased to report that the utilization of our Raptor emergency management technology to facilitate this complex process allowed for a seamless reunification exercise. We would like to thank the folks that we partnered with to help them make that event successful. That was the Virginia Beach Police Department, the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Department, Fire, EMS, our central office staff, senior leadership, the volunteers, the Office of the City of Emergency Management, the Emergency Communications and Citizen Service Unit, and our Raptor technology representatives who flew in from out of town to help guide us through the process. Staying with the training theme, we were able to provide 105 new and existing security assistants that required 2-day DCJS certification and recertification, along with our in-house Raptor and Genetech familiarization. And we continue to take requests from schools to provide trainings for their crisis response teams in Run, Hide, Protect, and various other tabletop scenarios. We have our emergency manager engaged and fully integrated with our city's Office of Emergency Management, providing support as needed for severe weather planning and preparedness. He has also recently been tasked with overseeing all school crisis response plans, as well as plans for special events. And he will provide training for stakeholders in those areas. As always, and staying consistent with the Blue Ribbon Panel's recommendations, we will be conducting our comprehensive school audit assessments again this year. Last year, 1/2 of our schools were audited, and this year the other half will be completed. Important to note, all schools undergo an unannounced visit. These visits have our coordinators fill out a checklist specifically designed for security-related concerns at the schools. And also, worth noting, all schools are visited frequently by the OSM staff throughout the year. Thank you. I will turn it over to JT Lash in Transportation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm JT Lash. I'm the Executive Director of Transportation and Fleet Management Services, and I'm very proud of what our department does every day. So this afternoon, I'm going to provide you with an update of the Office of Transportation and Fleet Management Services. To say our department has been busy over the summer is an understatement. I'll begin with Fleet Management Services area. As you know, this summer was considered one of the hottest on record. Even given the extreme heat, our fleet employees were able to accomplish the following. They completed almost 1,500 work orders between the period of June 19th and August 25th. On average, they completed 33 work orders each day. Services performed included preparing new vehicles to enter the fleet, preparing surplus vehicles to go to auction, preventive maintenance repairs, road service calls, as well as responding to incidents of vandalism or theft. The shop staff did utilize a few of those days to assist drivers at the end of the school year parking buses, as well as prior to the opening of this school year, adjusting mirrors and jump-starting buses that had possibly set over the summer. One of the things we're very proud of is Our fleet management staff completed all the required preventive maintenance and inspections to our bus fleet. During the summer, while we had approximately 300 of those buses on the road for summer school and other programs. That's quite an accomplishment. Next, I'll cover driver recruitment and training. And interestingly, I had a meeting with Mr. Freeman this afternoon over at the Municipal Center. And on my way over, I heard an ad for bus drivers in another locality across the water. And then on my way to this meeting, I heard another ad for bus drivers in another locality across the water. As our Chief Human Resources Officer, Shell Woodhouse, briefed the board several weeks ago, we were very happy at our ability to have a driver in every seat on our bus, assigned to each bus route at the opening of this school year. That was quite a task. However, driver recruitment, training, and hiring is an ongoing task, and our Transportation and Human Resources staff does an excellent job keeping the process going. As you know, VBCPS has set high standards for our employees, especially those we entrust to safely transport our students. People leave employment for various reasons, including retirement, resignations, relocations, etc. Also, we have a number of individuals out under the Family Medical Leave Act from time to time or on other types of leave whose routes need to be covered intermittently or long-term. This creates vacancies in the driving and bus assistant ranks, so we have an ongoing process to recruit, train, and hire bus staff. The paid training and hire driver pay rate approved by the board for drivers has helped tremendously, and we thank you. We anticipate the new bus assistant rate to help us fill open positions, and you'll see from the snapshot on the screen of where we are with these combined efforts. So you'll see that we had 23 drivers trained over this summer. We have 14 currently in training, and now they've moved to on-the-road driver training from outside of the classroom. We have approximately 23 that will begin on October 2nd. However, we currently need 35 bus assistants. We do have 20 individuals who've been recommended and are currently awaiting background checks and processing. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel for our bus assistants. Several years ago, we implemented a system of having parents register their children for bus transportation services. This program helps staff create bus routes, allowing us to utilize staff and buses more efficiently while always keeping safety as our #1 priority. Our staff work hard to assign students to buses right up to the school opening, and they continue to assign students. Some transportation statistics for this school year include, you'll see the total number of students registered for transportation this year, 51,665 students. Just because they're registered doesn't mean they necessarily ride the bus, but we realize that some parents register them not knowing. We will have a better assessment of the ridership when we conduct our state mandated load counts beginning the week of October 16th. So out of those 51,000 plus students, we have about 50,000 regular ed students and about 2,634 special needs students that are riding our bus fleet of 542 buses that are on the road daily. Now, Mr. Nix talked about all the stops he makes. I won't talk about stops, but I'll talk about runs. So you've probably heard the word bus route. A bus run is an actual run to a school. A route can have many runs, but I think our numbers are just as impressive as his. We have 3,752 bus runs total. Out of that, we have 2,291 regular education routes, 894 sped routes, 247 academy routes, and 320 other runs, which could be anything from a half-day program to activity run, etc. We continue to receive transportation requests for students throughout the year that are assigned to new programs or who have relocated to Virginia Beach. Students are typically assigned to routes within 3 to 5 business days. Once information is inputted by schools into the Synergy Student Information System. And our people do a wonderful job trying to expedite those students on the buses. Next, I'll talk about our in-service training. Also prior to the opening of the school year, our department held its annual transportation in-service meetings. These were face-to-face department-wide meetings. The first, which was Wednesday, August 23rd, and it was great to have our whole transportation family back together again for the school kickoff meeting. Important topics that were covered at that meeting included topics from employee relations, risk management, student behavior management, and one of the most important sessions was seizure training, which was conducted by the Epilepsy Foundation of Virginia for all of our transportation employees, both drivers, subs, and assistants. Additional in-service meetings were held the following day by each of our area supervisors. And topics at their meetings included additional information for students with healthcare needs. Nurses participated in all those meetings and informed drivers and bus assistants on proper procedures and what they need to know to provide service to these students. Also, we reviewed our transportation operations handbook as well as other policies and regulations that pertain to school transportation. One last thing I would like to add, that all our bus assistants participated in hands-on training of the proper student securement, whether it's a wheelchair, booster seat, et cetera. And all of them also were trained or retrained on the operation of a wheelchair lift. And that's the lift that sticks outside the bus, goes down, and comes up. So that was very good training. So this concludes our briefing for the Office of Transportation and Fleet Management Services. I'd like to turn it over now to Vika Harrison from the wonderful Food Service Department. Thank you.
Thank you, JT. Good afternoon, Chairwoman Riggs, members of the board, Dr. Robertson. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Vika Harrison. I'm the Director of the Office of Food Services, and I'm here to provide you with an update on food service operations. This school year, we are operating the traditional National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program. These programs are federally subsidized by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and are subject to strict nutritional and fiscal rules and regulations. Under these two programs, meal costs are based on student individual eligibility, which is paid, reduced, or free. And the cost of the student paid breakfast remains at $1.40 for breakfast and $2.85 for lunch. I think it's important to note that we as a division have not increased these prices in 6 years. Governor Youngkin and the General Assembly have allocated additional resources in these year's budget to fund the reduced price portion of the student meals, which is 30 cents for breakfast and 40 cents for lunch. What that means is that households approved for reduced priced meals will not have to pay this year, so they will receive meals at no cost. Our school meals are healthy, nutritious, and tasty. Research shows that students who participate in school meal programs consume more whole grains, milk, fruits, and vegetables during the day, especially during their meal times, and have a better diet overall than students that do not participate in our programs. Studies also show that eating breakfast at school is associated with better attendance rates, fewer missed school days, and better test scores. We believe that children that are hungry, they can't learn. Our division has applied and received state approval to operate 38 schools under the Community Eligibility Provision Program, where all students, regardless of household income, can receive no-cost meals. Our district has over 22,000 students that are benefiting from the CEP program. On this slide, you can see the 38 schools listed by grade level. We have 27 at the elementary level, 6 at the middle level, 5 at the high school level. And we were actually able to get the Achievable Dream Academy that has newly been built on the CEP list this year. Schools qualify for CEP through data received from the Virginia Department of Social Services. In order to qualify for CEP consideration, a school must have 40% or more of directly certified students. What that means is directly certified students include those that are in households that receive supplemental nutrition assistance program funding, temporary assistance for needy families funding, as well as those students that are homeless, migrant youth, runaway, or foster children. In addition to CEP, we showed that over 15,000 students that are in non-CEP schools are currently qualified as free and reduced. So what that means, between those two programs, we have over 50% of our student population that is able to receive no-cost meals at our school programs. Households needing an award letter should, or other benefits, should still apply for free and reduced benefits, because these benefits include other benefits than just meals. They can include low-cost internet, dental and daycare benefits, different types of testing fee waivers like AP and IB, as well as college application and fee waivers. During the last school year, our district served over 8.51 million student meals. Although this number was down from the record-breaking number that you may recall we served during the 21-22 year, when we served over 10 million meals to students due to the federally funded universal free meals, this number was actually in line with the average yearly number of meals served that we have done in the past. This school year so far, however, we're doing better than pre-pandemic and last year's numbers. If you look at this chart, you can see data for the first 5 school days of meals served, going back to pre-pandemic operations as well as current school year. You can see here that we are indeed seeing a slight increase, not a lot, 1.4%, but we will take it, in student meal participation as compared to September of 2019. We believe that this is due to more students being able to receive no-cost meals as part of the CEP program. As you may recall from the previous slide, we have 38 schools qualified now. In 2019, we had 6 schools. As anticipated, we're serving fewer meals, a decrease of 5.1% than during the school year of 21-22, when meals were served free to all via the Universal Free Meals Program. As compared to September of last year, though, we're seeing an increase in student meal participation of about 9.5%. We believe this increase is because we have 11 more schools operating the CEP program than last school year. So more students are eating in our cafeterias again. To help entice students to eat in our cafeterias, we're continuing to expand the Scratch Cooking Initiative menu offerings in all Virginia Beach schools. We're also continuing to upgrade our kitchen equipment to include modern equipment for scratch cooking, such as combi ovens, stilled skillets, RoboCoupe processors, mixers, and other items to increase efficiency. In partnership with Facility Services, we upgraded kitchen equipment in 10 schools this summer for a total of 43 school kitchens. So now we have 33 upgraded elementary kitchens, 6 middle, and 4 high schools. In collaboration with the city, we are also growing the Scratch Cooking Initiative school gardens. Right now, we have 36 active school gardens, 27 at the elementary level, 6 at middle, and 4 at high school. Our overall goal is to have a school garden at every school, not only to provide fresh produce to our Scratch kitchens, but also to educate students and to give them an outlet for well-being and to educate them on sustainability and farm-to-table concepts. Through nutrition education, students learn that fruits and vegetables grow in the garden and that they don't just come from a grocery store. Also this year, we have 13 schools that are interested in having a junior chef culinary club at their school. So we're very excited for this opportunity, and we look forward to seeing our junior chefs learning about nutrition and gain culinary skills and education. And we will share that with you on our social media. Another exciting update from our office is that the food truck incorporation into our school nutrition programs has been very successful. This truck continues to serve a multitude of purposes, including being an alternative food service model, as well as a mobile scratch kitchen featuring some of the same scratch cooking equipment as our school kitchens, as well as being utilized for scratch menu samplings, student nutrition education tours, district catering events, and marketing efforts. For example, it is currently being utilized at 3 to 4 high schools weekly during one lunch. This picture here on the left shows you the line of students at Kempsville High School where they were served lunch during the one lunch period just a couple of weeks ago. The other pictures are from Diamond Springs Elementary, where we used the food truck for menu samplings and educating students on our school nutrition programs, and also marketing our program to the parents. As you can see from the pictures, the kids really enjoyed seeing the food truck and getting a tour of it. Actually, our office attended the Tri-Campus student and parent event last Thursday evening at Newtown Elementary, where we also provided samples to the parents to market our program. Speaking of marketing, this upcoming Saturday, if you have nothing to do, we will be participating in the Neptune Festival parade, so we hope that you can come and show your support at the oceanfront from 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Our food truck has been nicknamed the Big Blue, and it will make an appearance, so we hope you can come support us. If you cannot come support us, you can always find us on social media, and you can see the periodic updates and photos are being posted on VB Scratch on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We also have our YouTube channel with 34 educational videos, and we're trying to update more videos on the coming soon. All right, so no food service update is complete without showing you examples of our most popular current scratch menu items voted on by our students. You will see here the Cinnamon Crunch Breakfast and the breakfast quesadilla with vegan chorizo are our most popular breakfast menu items. Italian or Buffalo Chef Pockets are coming in second and third for lunch, as well as chef salad, chicken Alfredo pasta, and Asian chicken salad is one of the most popular menu items with the students. Many schools offer salad bars made from scratch with scratch salad made dressings. And you can always find a variety of fresh fruits and vegetables every day, and an entree salad is available daily at every single cafeteria. We also accommodate students with special needs, including those with food allergies and gluten restrictions. Our Scratch Cooking Initiative focuses on clean labels, quality products, and little to no processing of ingredients. And we update our 2-week menu cycle on a quarterly basis. And we always ask our students and parents through surveys for their feedback. All right, so moving on from some of our menu items, I wanted to show you an example at a farm-to-table harvesting at Lincoln Park. Our central office and cafeteria staff are working diligently to ensure that our students receive delicious school meals while also promoting student wellness education. So on this slide, you can see the Lincoln Park cafeteria staff working with parent volunteers to plant, harvest, and utilize produce students grow in our school gardens. In this example, our cafeteria manager, Regina Ligon, used the fresh vegetables like bell peppers and tomatoes to make vegetarian pizza. And she also served the cantaloupe as fruit cups to these first graders who are very excited to have farm to school in their cafeteria and to join the garden club at that school. Some of our other produce harvested in our school gardens include carrots, bell peppers, lettuce, cucumbers, eggplant, and various herbs which are used in salads and recipes. We also use seasonal crops purchased from local farmers or grown in our school gardens to incorporate into our school meals. October is the National Farm to School Month, and we hope you will follow us on social media at VB Scratch to see pictures of our Farm to School celebrations. This concludes my portion of the presentation and the director's portion of the presentation, so we will now open it up for any questions. Thank you.
First of all, let me just give kudos to your department, your whole department. Every one of you are amazing. And that is why you are one of the many reasons that our school division is so successful. And every one of your department chairs and heads were just very fantastic. Their presentations were awesome. Thank you. And not only your presentations were awesome, but the work that you do is awesome. We know they weren't just presentations. They are what you live and what you do every day for us, and we so appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We have a great team.
Ms. Melnick.
So, for maintenance and distribution, it's not a question, but, I have a little OCD when it comes to cleaning, and I like everything in its place. And I must say, I've been to 7 schools so far this school year. I mean, I go all the time, but all of our schools are just so beautifully kept. It is, you could never really guess the age of a school. I love that your philosophy is staying on top of things so that you're not having to play defense all the time. It's always good to play offense. And I love that. Bayside, I was at Bayside last week. Their new floors, it's just beautiful. And distribution, so that's where we pack beach bags, and you welcome us there, and we would love to have anyone sign up to volunteer to help us, even if it's just to take a peek at distribution services, because that is another facility in VBCPS that is perfectly maintained. Everything in there has a place, and I thank you that you allow us to come in, and we try to maintain that same order in that little corner. But it's just really, this team is really, I'll just echo Mrs. Riggs, that kudos to everybody.
Ms. Anderson.
First of all, I want to say kudos, special kudos to our food services and their scratch cooking initiative.
Yeah.
It's come so far in the past few years, and Ms. Riggs and I we were both at Old Donation before it ever went system-wide, and we kept encouraging, once we found out how wonderful it was what was happening at Old Donation, we helped to spread the word. That is just a fantastic initiative that our school system has. And I can't wait until we can say that it's in every single school, every one of our schools. So, but thank you so much for what you're doing and for giving our cafeteria workers the ability to reach higher, to be able to get trained. And you know, I hate to say it, sometimes we train them and they leave us, but okay, that's our job as a school system. We train people to do better in life, so. But I have a question for Mr. DeMartini. So you indicated that that we are concerned about weapon safety as well. So I want to know, do we provide our people who carry weapons with like a secure lockup in their home?
Yeah, it's part of the expectations that they secure their weapon when it's not in their holster.
But we don't provide that to them,
We do
right?
not, we do not.
Right, so I know that might be expensive, but I do think it's something worthwhile to think about. If we expect that, I think that's something that we might be able to maybe purchase in whole lot of them at one time, so that, you know, we maybe could get a discount from someplace.
It's a good thought, but I'll just point out that the police department does not have that. The police officers are not provided a place to secure their weapon at home.
They're just expected to do that as well.
It's
so.
gun responsibility.
But it is something to think about down the road, so,
Okay.
just something that, you know, I'm real big on that, you know, having something where they know it's securely locked up and out of the reach of young minds, young hands.
That's all part of the expectation sheet I spoke about. They sign off on that.
Good, all right, thank you, I appreciate
Yes, ma'am.
that. That's all for me.
Ms. Manning?
Thank you, and I will echo what my colleagues said. We have the best maintained, cleanest schools of any district I've ever been in. I have to say that I traveled up to New York this weekend, and through my travels all the way up, I was seeing signs for bus drivers everywhere. So kudos to Ms. Woodhouse, your team, and transportation for all your hard work in getting those positions filled. I also want to point out almost every single year, at the start of the school year, we get lots of phone calls and emails about all the problems with transportation, and it's usually because we don't have enough drivers. And I will say I did not receive one phone call this year, so excellent job, team. And so I'm also extremely impressed with our security assistants at our schools. Anytime I go to visit a school, there is always someone there manning that security desk, and I'm always asked for my ID, and I want it to stay that way. So let's make sure that that happens. I have a question for Mr. DeMartini. You mentioned that we replaced MANT training, but I didn't catch what that was replaced with.
Crisis Preventative Institute, and they
Crisis
provide the nonviolent, nonviolent training that we provide to our security assistants, elementary school teachers, special ed students, special ed teachers.
Okay, and we've had that for how long?
CPI 3, it's our 3rd year.
Okay. Is that a program that we review, Dr. Robertson, like in some of our, as we review certain programs?
It has not been one.
Okay. I'm just curious, do you feel that that is working out better than MANT?
Absolutely, it meets the mark. We looked at MANT when we first took over the position 5 years ago, and we thought it was out of touch and out of date. And then we researched, and CPI is what provided the school divisions throughout the country, and we like what it offers for our folks.
Okay, great, thank you. And then one more question for Mr. Lash regarding, you talked about the state mandate to maximize bus usage, and I know a few years ago, I think one of Mr. Freeman's biggest undertaking was reviewing our bus usage and maximizing bus usage, and we had, a big audit on that, and that really helped save us a lot of money and driver time. Is it similar to that, or is it?
Actually, every year we're required to complete a state report, and we have to break down the numbers for student ridership, miles, and miles are broken down to regular ed, SPED, field trip, shuttles. So we have to do load counts. Our drivers do them. They fill out a form, and then there's a certain formula we use for the state report to average out the number of students on our buses.
Okay, so does that help us make sure that we're maximizing the usage of the buses so that
Yes,
we don't
ma'am.
have 5 kids on a big, large bus?
And that's a continuous thing we do, given the trend that there's a shortage of bus drivers. We want to make sure our buses are pretty much at capacity. Now, there are some runs out to the county, so to speak, that the stops are spaced out at greater distances. So you might have buses that are traveling with less students because they have the same amount of time to pick up students and get them to school as a bus that might hit 1 or 2 or 3 stops in a high density neighborhood. So we constantly are looking at that and consolidating bus runs where possible to save money.
And are we using the vans that we had purchased for the smaller runs? I know
We do
talked
use
about
vans,
Okay.
yes, ma'am. For instance, we have some students that live out in the Pungo area that go to a program over in Chesapeake. We use a van for that because it's just not feasible to run a big school bus that distance.
Great. Okay, thank you. Excellent job, everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Lashnock, whatever. So, first of all, amazing job, amazing job. I agree with Ms. Manning. I sometimes get, feedback from the bus routes and stuff like that. Nothing this year, so great job. You had mentioned 3,752 total daily bus runs. That is quite a figure for what we're doing daily. Do you know, just off the top of your head, how many vehicles does that comprise? Is that Do you know how many buses and vans?
Well, we're using approximately 542 school buses.
Okay.
And then we supplement it with vans.
Well, that's what, yeah, so, okay, so I wasn't sure if you knew the total of all those, okay. All right, and, great job, but I'm still waiting for you to retrofit the bus for me. And,
And when you retire, you make sure you come to work for Virginia Beach City Public Schools, not my neighbor that's on the radio advertising for bus stops.
don't discriminate against short people, but, all right, thanks, Mr. Lash. And then I just wanted to give a shout out to Food Services, love the scratch cooking, no questions, but I just want to, I'm a huge fan of your demonstrations to us. And then, because I do love to eat. And then I did have a question for Ms. Ingram about the football turfs. You had not mentioned, but I think that we are replacing the football turfs, is that correct?
Yes, we are.
In a rotation?
Yes, we are. We have used reversion funding in the past for our turf field. So this summer, we were able to do Kempsville High School and Ocean Lakes High School. We have 3 remaining schools for turf fields left. We're currently designing Tallwood High School, and Lansdowne High School is then next, and then Cox High School. We look at drainage issues on site when we're picking and selecting our priorities for turf field replacement, and that's, the way the priorities shook out. So without using reversion funding, it is a large ticket item. We're looking at about every other year to be able to complete the last 3 schools. But the schools are utilizing them both at the high school level and the middle school level for competition. And it's really been helpful for the schools just to be able to use their playing fields for their sports purposes.
Well, I'm going to tell you, they look amazing, the new turfs, and just makes, I think, change in morale too for the teams and the students and stuff. So great job on that. And just to all of, Mr. Freeman, you just have an amazing group of employees underneath you. So I appreciate all you all are doing. So thank you.
Ms. Owens?
Thank you. I won't take time echoing the kudos, but please know that they are there. I have 2 questions, and they may be actually, I'm not sure who would answer them. In terms of our community gardens, our school gardens, which I love and am very excited about, are they run completely by volunteers, like by staff and parent volunteers? And is there any stipend associated with the person who is the main person responsible for the gardens at those schools?
That is a great question. At this point, the gardens are run by volunteers at the school level. Sometimes it's community partnerships that are doing it together with teachers as well as parents. There is no stipend from Food Services for it. There has been some discussion on trying to come up with a stipend from another area. However, this year, the only stipend that is on the budget is for culinary clubs, and it has helped with the interest for the junior chef competitions. And so that is a great question.
Thank you, and hopefully it's something that we can keep in mind if we have some funds. I know what an incredible responsibility it is to maintain gardens that big and to have that responsibility. And we want to encourage our staff to do that when they are already having a million tasks on their plate. The other question had to do with recruiting for our custodial, for maintenance, for custodial and distribution services, and I guess perhaps even with bus drivers. I know that we increased the salary, which I'm very excited about. I'm wondering if we have any referral incentive program in either of those areas currently, where like the employee would get a monetary incentive for bringing somebody on after they stay a month or after they stay 6 months.
So to answer your specific question, not currently. To go a little bit bigger picture with this, we know, because Ms. Woodhouse briefed at the last school board meeting, where we are with our custodial staff and our food service staff and our bus assistants. So we try and live a culture of continuous improvement. So you identify a change, you implement the change, and then you evaluate. So we had the compensation study. We were waiting to see what the effect of that compensation study or the increase in pay for those positions. And based on the data that we had, it didn't have the effect that we were hoping for. So we are in discussions right now of, okay, what's the next step? What things we put on the table, so it could be a consideration for that, and it can be other things. So we're actually meeting, I think it's tomorrow or Thursday, to have more conversations about what do we do next to be able to attract and retain in that group of employees.
Wonderful. I look forward to hearing what other ideas are coming forward. I know it's a challenge, and it's going to be a continued challenge with the other competition that we have in our area. But I appreciate all of the work that everybody does, and we know that monetary incentives are part of what needs to happen. People do it out of their love of their heart for kids, but also they need to get paid. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Callen.
Mr. DiMartini, if I heard you correctly, you were making reference to training that's available in various schools, and the impression I was left with was Party A requests the training and you come out to assist. But I'm assuming that there are many schools, actually all of the schools, that would be in need of the training, but is it on a request by the school basis, or do you have an agenda where eventually you'll get to all of the schools with the training program that you were referring to?
So because the school year and the calendar is so condensed for academic reasons, it is difficult for the Office of Security Emergency Management to integrate our training opportunities into the school calendar. So we have to take advantage of the time that we have in the summer with our administrative teams, our new hires, and those types of folks. So the training that I specifically mentioned in the presentation is done to all the administrators that sign up for our training. They're required to sign up for our training in the summertime, and we give them various topics. In addition to that, we have other opportunities for them if they'd like to take advantage of that during the school year, teacher work days and things like that. If they'd like to have us in to provide other, topics of instruction, we can do that. We're available to do that. So we meet our goal of providing them the training that we want to provide them in the summertime, and then we have additional training that they can sign up for throughout the year.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Super job. I don't think there's any more questions. Thank you. We really appreciate your department and everybody in it. Okay, our next agenda item is CPPEA interim agreement update. Welcome, Ms. Melissa Ingram, our Executive Director for Facilities Services.
So good afternoon again, Chairman Riggs, Acting Superintendent Dr. Robertson, and the members of the board. So some of this information in the front of the presentation is a repeat from the last time we were here right before summer started, but I did want to just review our timeline and kind of some of the things that came in the beginning of this process. Since we've had a running start after the school board approved our PPA interim agreement in the end of February, and then it was then again approved in March by City Council. And that started with our EGS program, which ensures that we are meeting Virginia Beach City Public Schools program, moves into budget discussions, which have been ongoing. I want to thank the budget development team and working with city staff for all their hard work as we're having those negotiations right now. We then have looked at design for our schematics design, we're calling conceptual designs to 15%. And have spent the summer refining what was done in the prior school year, as well as looking for reviews from city staff, other code reviews, wetlands, and things like that that needed to happen in terms of surveys. So moving right along, we're going to continue to go to our final schematic design process in the months at the end of October. Through November, we'll come back to the board again to let you know how that all is going, then continue our financing discussions and come back to you roughly between November and February with a guaranteed maximum price, proposed comprehensive agreement for construction services to see if this is something that we want to move forward with for the PPEA. Another look at the timeline again, and this is something that many of you who have been attending our public meetings, thank you very much, a lot of familiar faces. Really appreciate the support on those. But we're currently right at the end of the 15% design. That's what I'm here to talk to you about today, our conceptual designs. And then again, in October, we'll be looking at our 30% designs at the schematic level, then getting that guaranteed maximum price and comprehensive agreement to see if approvals is something that the school board and city council might be interested in for the 3 schools involved in this PPEA. So again, just as a reminder, the vast majority of folks that are involved with our public input process, so from our planning advisory teams, with organizations that include VBCPS and CVB staff, as well as other outside agencies, including higher education, public health, have really been instrumental in informing the process. And want to thank again and remind everyone that our planning advisory teams have 2 elected officials from both school board and city council, and they have also been very instrumental in attending our meetings. So thank you as well. And then remind you again that our public community meetings are open to anyone in the public. So, and those have also been very well attended. So just to review the directives that we've received from school board, from this board, is looking for efficiencies of size and scale throughout the process. And that's been a very diligent part of our process, not only looking at the program and the educational specifications, but also trying to see those needed spaces where we might be able to combine them, reduce them, or use them for multiple uses. And then on the city council side, looking at the cost estimates and any possible scalable options that might come out of it. So again, just a snapshot again of our public information meetings. We have 3 more to go in October. The end of October, this is a week after our planning advisory team will meet. So please feel free to share with your friends. And we've completed numerous public community meetings as well as the planning advisory teams. So again, a snapshot of the 3 schools involved in this interim agreement is Princess Anne High School, which is fully funded in the 6-year CIP, as well as Williams Elementary School, Bayside 6th, and then we have Bayside High School. Considerations for these design parameters are academies, at Princess Anne having the IB program, as well as NJRTC, at Bayside High School having the Health Sciences Academy. Also, our unique programs in terms of the 4th, 5th, 6th grade campus. As you recall, last year we did a large survey of the tri-campus area and neighborhood to see if the tri-campus model was something that the area liked, and that was definitely supported by the K1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 model, and then having Bayside 6th as a wing on here has also been great in terms of not only creating opportunities for sharing, but also looking at how each portion of the school can have their unique identity. We also have the prototype design is for Bayside High School. We'll take a look at that today, as well as a swing space at Holland Road Annex. As a reminder, both Princess Anne High School and Bayside High School would utilize the building we're in right now, Holland Road Annex, as swing space during construction for these schools. So again, as I mentioned in March, we got a really great running start to ensure that we are meeting our VBCPS stellar programs. Some of the large opportunities that we've been looking at throughout the process is not just our academy-based programs, but also professional futures for our students in terms of career technical education and other type of electives, as well as community partnerships. That has been really a great need coming out of these discussions that we're having with the public. And again, so some of our emerging themes, and many of you who have been to these meetings might recognize this, so I'll just name a couple. Security, so, not only feeling secure, but being secure, natural surveillance, and kind of like a home away from home. That was a big thing we heard from students and parents as well. Having learner agency, so both making sure students can be accountable, but also be provided opportunities within the new school and their spaces. Again, professional futures with the CTE, technical education, and other partnerships for internships was widely discussed, as well as community use of the spaces, making sure that at all hours of school is able to be used, and looking at how some areas of the school might be closed while other areas might be opened. And then just some of the basics, storage, restrooms, parking and daylighting were really important to a lot of our folks. So again, as I mentioned, we've gotten input from numerous users. Some of the most important are students here, which you see in front of you from the 4 schools that are combining into 3. And growth in education has been a high priority in terms of what we've been hearing from our input gathering, and making sure that our space needs are meeting the actual program in order to create opportunities for students. So again, we had educational specification meetings after our interviews. We looked at not just the spaces needed for these programs, but adjacencies and what the building flow might look like, what different adjacencies might do in terms of enhancing a certain program or complementing a certain program as well. And we'll continue to define these educational specifications throughout the process. Sorry. And probably took a while because this next slide, I'm going to wait for it, is a busy one. Many of you who have been part of the process are aware of what this is. So these are the spaces. This is a Princess Anne High School model. So as we're looking at the conceptual plans, we are talking about learning communities. So that is where our core subject matter will take place. We did hear a lot, as you see on the right hand of the slide, some of our technical education and our electives, having those not be really separated from the learning communities, but really embedded in it, so that students who are interested both in the core subject and also career professional education might be able to spend the day together in their learning community. SPED as well, that was another important component, that it's not necessarily separated, but really part of the community as well and part of the learning communities. As well as electives, athletics, central support such as guidance clinic, community engagement, and administrative spaces. So this is kind of a look at our educational program right now at Princess Anne High School. You'll notice just to the right of the learning community, that's our special education wing, and how many spaces might be needed for those 150 students there division-wide. And this is really how the process gets started. And so again, I mentioned that we are constantly refining the educational specifications, and this is an example. We had some great meetings with senior leadership, both before and throughout the summer, and came to some decision-making points. So, one here is a black box theater, and should it have enough space in it so that folks can kind of be able to visit a performance there, or is it needed more like a genre classroom? The other one you see in front of you here is 3 programs that share a space: aerobics, fitness, and dance. And then we had another program, a wrestling program. And we found by really talking about what time of day these programs are used, can these spaces be shared and combined? And that was the case in terms of these programs, rather than eliminating one or making the space smaller for one, trying to combine them so that they can really be utilized at the appropriate times of day and not have us suffer on the program as well. So again, I'm here today. We've gone through our May through June and September through October design workshops for this 15% conceptual design. Currently here today with you on September 26th, and looking to make the same presentation next Tuesday for City Council on their October 3rd informal session as well, just to inform them of where we are in the process. And so our first school we're going to look at here is Princess Anne High School, and our design parameters here. As you can see, right next to the P and the A, we have Virginia Beach Boulevard, which is a large arterial thoroughfare, as you're all familiar with, and then Thalia Creek on the east side of the screen as well, which is a great opportunity. We've just completed a wetlands restoration project there with the help of Public Works and Army Corps of Engineers. So it's a great site with a lot of opportunities. However, it's also a really small, compact site. And that's true case for all three of these sites. So efficiency was definitely needed as we're looking through these concepts here. So this is one of the designs that made it through the end. We had roughly 5 designs total for each school that we looked at. I'm showing you the last 3 that we were able to look at and that we had the planning advisory teams vote on both prior to the summer and then on their return from summer. So this is a 3 branches concept. It is a 3-story concept with the classroom wings stacked on the west side of the property there, as you can see. It is the most spread out conceptual plan. The gym and the auditorium are at different ends of the building, which allows some sort of traffic accommodation. However, it's not as easy for events. So a lot of discussion was kind of happening around that in terms of this program. It also, as do a lot of other of our concept plans for Princess Anne High School, does have a direct connection to Thalia Creek and a great urban presence on Virginia Beach Boulevard. However, with the classroom wings and the way they were laid out, we did have to look for greater connection between them. So looking at bridges and some sort of concepts like that. It was a great concept that was great for a lot of discussion purposes. Our next conceptual plan is Gateway, again for Princess Anne High School. This is a 5-story plan with the administration you see in the pink there. It's kind of an egg-shaped as being the heart of the school, and then having the special education center to the west there, and our learning communities over on the east side. For this plan, entrances and drop-offs caused a lot of discussion, as we have the second story accommodated the gym and the auditorium. We had a lot of discussion on that concept as well. There was some talks about a parking garage, which a parking garage could be looked at in several of these different concepts, but this is the one with having the gym and the auditorium that it made the most sense for. It was, we had to reorient several parts of this conceptual plan for solar orientation and then also just for access to the fields. And then Main Street, this is a concept that was voted on most, both before and after the summer on the Princess Anne High School planning advisory teams. This is a 4-story plan where you can see on the Main Street, it basically has, the reason for this is the views and the access. You have a north, south, east, west access throughout the building, which allows for clear lines of sight and a really great wayfinding and connectivity throughout the building. Both on the first floor as well as on the upper stories where you have your learning communities. Again, those are the areas where you have your core subjects. We're also making sure CTE and special ed are components in those as well, some resource areas for students, as well as administrative spaces and collaboration spaces in those learning communities. Those are stacked, as you can see in the axonometric there. This one really had a great events entrance where you have a clear admin area, also with the special education area right in the front of the building, fronting Virginia Beach Boulevard, and the science classroom CTE in the rear with the learning communities, again, embedded in it. The SCOLA in this design was also accommodating both indoor and outdoor capabilities, being able to utilize the outside of the site as well. So for Princess Anne High School, this is a site that got the most votes And while we incorporate all of the thoughts and changes throughout the process and all the conceptual designs, this is the one that folks kind of felt made the most sense on the site. And just so you're aware, all of these concepts are available on vbschools@thefuture.com for you to look at again, or the public to look at again as well. So going next to our next school, Williams Elementary School, Bayside Sixth. Again, this is a very unique program for the school division with a 4th, 5th, 6th grade program. So we were really balancing the unique identities needed for the elementary school and the 6th grade, the middle school section, while we're trying to work on combining shared spaces and creating more opportunities for both student bodies that they may not have had if they were in a building on their own. So the first concept here is the terrace concept. This is a 3-story concept. This is the most stacked concept with learning communities and other supports stacked right above. Folks kind of thought it did a good job of combining the schools into one. However, the opportunities for sharing in this type of combination were a little bit more limited. And there were less access to.
So just heads up from, I think we have, Madam Chair, 5 minutes.
I should be okay, yes. Okay, great, thank you. Thanks, Jack. Okay, thank you, sorry. So less access to CTE and electives for all, as they're all located on the 3rd floor here. So that was kind of a hindrance of this concept plan. The next concept plan here is Dragonfly. All shared spaces are in the front of the building, a long learning circle there with the classroom wings in the back. Again, this separation of the wings and shared spaces made for difficulty in terms of really taking advantage of the combined 4th, 5th, 6th grade campus. And this concept was also more spread out, so there was concern about, having long travel times between different areas of the building. And this third concept is the one that was voted on by the planning advisory team both before and after the summer. This is a 2-story concept with a central spine. You can see the administration in the pink in the front there, right off of Learning Circle in that front parking. And then you have the Commons, Diming, and the gym along the west side of the building, and on the east side, your shared spaces are the CTE and arts and music, as well as a library above, to be able to have students on both levels being able to share those spaces when appropriate. And then there are 2 unique identifying wings. The 4th, 5th grade wing is in the front, closer to administration, with the 6th grade wing being in the rear. Again, CTE spaces were accommodated here for students to be able to create opportunities from. And our next school, Bayside High School, is the largest school that we're looking at with 1,900 students, really trying to utilize the entire site with stormwater and outdoor learning being important components. And again, the design for this Bayside High School will become the prototype design. Our first concept, Concept 4, worked very well. It's 4 stories, separation shared, of shared spaces, however, was a little bit of a discussion point for this concept. With the building being less compact, it also created limitations on the field and limited our outdoor spacings access. Our next concept here, Concept 3, is a 4 stories design, which really maximized the solar orientation on the site. However, there were access issues in terms of parking and allowing student-parent drop-offs and times for event. The dining commons here, as with the next concept, which is the Concept 1, which was voted on by the planning advisory team, both before and after the summer, as the best concept here. With the best use of the site, you have a central corridor that goes from the front of the building to the rear, which also acts as a dining commons area. You have the learning communities over on the west side of the site. You have 2 stories in the front and 4 stories in the rear to help with, to create sunlight in that courtyard that can be secured. And then on the east side of the site, you have your areas that are mostly used for after-school use, so that we can close off the classroom side for special events and things of that nature. So this design for Bayside High School, you can see on our next 3 sites, First Colonial High School, Kempsville High School, and Green Run High School. The other great thing that we discussed through the planning advisory team is that this concept plan was also very adaptable for the next 3 schools. Both sets of wings would either be able to grow or shorten in terms of space needs. Again, there'll be stormwater components and other code components necessary for these 3 sites. And then, so the next step is our final schematic designs. We have our planning advisory teams meeting the week of October 18th, and then again, our public meetings on the week of October 23rd to 26th. We will come back to the school board as we get to this 30% and also to city council. Again, looking at continuing with our financing discussion as well. So with that, I want to thank you and see if anyone has any questions.
Ms. Brown?
I do, but I'll follow up via email for reasons of time. Thank you.
And thank you for being part of the planning advisory teams too. It's been really
Thank you,
helpful.
Ms. Brown. If you have any questions, can they follow up with the email?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. I know that was, that's a lot, and we understand that, so.
And I
we really
appreciate, I know a lot of
it.
people here have seen these before, so appreciate all the attendance. Thank you.
Thank you.
People who were shining bright like that.
Okay, what we're going to do is come back after the main meeting for the quarterly forecast. We will do that before we do our closed session tonight, because it will just take too long to go through it. I think it would take too much of our time. Are you in agreement with that, Dr. Robertson? Okay. All right, so we are adjourned for this time, and we will see you at 6 o'clock on the dais. Thank you to everyone.